The In It Together with Lori Lynn Green talk show is a positive way to start your day. Ready for some encouragement?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm pumped. Let's let the healing begin.
Come be inspired. Hear moving stories. Even laugh out loud.
Can't make heads or tail of what I'm saying.
It's just incomprehensible.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
You'll hear real people doing real things to make a real impact.
You are heroes every day.
Hear honest, compassionate, engaging issues you care about.
You see people come together to do good in our community, and the more we come together, the more good we can do.
Listen in and get started on redesigning your life and hear what's positive in Greater Manchester. Here's your happy host, Lori Lynn Green.
Good morning, friends in Greater Manchester and beyond. Welcome to In It Together. We're so glad that you've tuned in. If you want to find us on the web, you can go to inittogether.net, listen live or to previous shows, even link to our Facebook and Twitter there. And if you like and follow us, you'll see that we're bringing out the best in people to influence positive change in this community and beyond. Today is Personal Safety with Master Trainer Bob Bollard of Defensive Strategies, returning to the mic. And the topic today is talking about women in personal protection or self-defense or however you want to say it, among other things. We want to give you some great information so that you can consider before you act. But first, we're going to take a short break. We'll be back right after this. Hi, I'm Lori Lynn Green, Advancement Strategist and owner of AlphaAdvancementStrategies.com. I've been very successful at helping people overcome stressful situations to get immediate results in their personal and professional lives. At Alpha Advancement Strategies, we provide a non-judgmental and supportive environment, empowering clients to focus more on reaching their goals. You can find us on the web at alphaadvancementstrategies.com or call us at 603-860-9260. Alpha Advancement Strategies is where you invest in yourself.
Little Leapers and Knowledge Keepers Childcare and Preschool offers learning experiences that give kids a healthy sense of self and meaningful connections to the world around them. We teach children from a positive perspective so they learn healthy conflict resolution and develop character. Owner Jennifer Lever has over 28 years' experience in child development. She's helped children learn to read as young as 18 months. Join our happy place where we make happy happen, located in Pinardville, bordering Bedford and Manchester. Call today at 603-491-1780.
Hi, I'm Lydia O'Leary, anchor of Samaritan Truth. Join me every Thursday at 9 a.m. where we'll discuss practical ways to love God and love your neighbor. Because miracles happen every day and you could be one of them. Only on In It Together with Lori Lynn Green.
Hi, I'm Ron Moore, anchor of the Storm Chaser segment, where we'll talk about severe weather in history, science, and today. Join me Fridays at 9 a.m. where you'll learn to be ready for any storm that comes your way. Only on In It Together with Lori Lynn Green.
This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song.
Welcome back to In It Together. We are kicking it off with another personal safety. It's good to see you again, Bob. Welcome back to the mic.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, it has.
A few months. You have some great business endeavors going on, and your business is growing. And again, you're from Defensive Strategies. You want to tell people what that is a little bit? Remind them.
Defensive Strategies is it's a personal protection. It's basically we do firearms, we do situation awareness classes, active shooter classes, and all related stuff like that, first aid, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So we're just trying to keep people safe.
You train the trainers, right?
Yes, we do. We produce our own competition.
Well, yeah, that's a good thing, though. So because you're not trying to compete, really. You're just trying to do a service, right. Training the trainers, and that includes, law enforcement and different other organizations. Yeah. Possibly, what are they called? Security and stuff, or
security guides? No, we really don't focus a lot on that. Although, because a lot of these guys won't spend their own money to to train.
Yeah. Yeah. So today, actually, we were trying to talk about what we were going to talk about. And I think the biggest thing that's everywhere is women getting more involved in personal protection.
Oh, yeah.
For a variety of reasons. You gave statistics a while ago, but why don't you give them again?
Women are really changing the industry. They really are. There is more and more women carrying guns and learning how to protect themselves. Because, I mean, the stats, 1 in 4 women will become a victim of a violent crime sometime in their life. And,
Yeah,
so.
I remember sharing a couple of occasions where I almost became a victim. I don't know if you remember that story where I was in my car. My son was very young behind me, and someone tried to get in my car. Not once, but twice. First, he came towards me on the other side of the car, the back. And then I looked at him, and he moved away and came back around my side to try to get in. And then there was another time I was down at the center of New Hampshire when it was one of those other names, way back when.
One of those other names.
And it was a nighttime business meeting I was going to, and I was by myself, and I had to park too far away, and there was all kinds of crazy activity going on. And I decided the best decision was not to go to the meeting that night.
Right.
Because you just have instincts, right?
And sometimes that's the thing, yeah. And you do have instincts, and you always trust those instincts. You really do, because they're there for a reason, and they work.
Yeah, and we're not talking about walking around in fear and being afraid. As a matter of fact, the very point of having some type of a training actually gets you prepared to know what you might do in a situation so that you, as you give in classes, refuse to be a victim. You can, if you're listening, you can actually go through the old archives, personal safety. Bob and I did quite a few there where we did the series of Refuse to be a Victim. That was the first class that I took with you over a year ago.
Yeah, great class.
Yeah, it was a very good, very eye-opening to me.
Oh, yeah.
On, the statistics and the mind of a perpetrator, just situational awareness, things that I wouldn't normally think about.
Yeah, it's a great class. That one and the SAFE class that we have. Both of them are pretty similar, and they talk about situational awareness. They talk about personal security, whether it's whether your physical security, your cyber security, that kind of everything. It encompasses your whole life, and just how to stay safe. How to be situationally aware of what's going on around you. Because a lot of times, a lot of these situations can be diverted just by knowing what's going on around you. Getting your head out of your cell phone and paying attention.
Yeah, and there's different levels of awareness as well. I mean, because of my relationship with you and Lynn and people who are involved in personal protection, I've had a lot of access to view videos and things of situations that people don't really think about. Although I think I've always had that in me.
Yeah.
Some people just have it, I guess, where you're aware, like in a parking garage or something like that.
Well, there's certain situations where you're going to be on a higher level of alertness to be, automatically anyways, okay? But, taking the classes, it just, heightens your awareness, and it gets you to understand and know what to look for and how to react in certain situations, how not to overreact and, that kind of thing.
Yeah, we're talking more about how to respond, which is very different. I think reacting usually comes from not knowing, and it's from a place of fear.
Right.
Responding comes from understanding the situation, assessing it the best you know how, and responding because with kind of a wisdom, I guess you could say.
The old saying about fear will get you killed.
Yeah.
And it's true, all right? Because if you don't have anything in your toolbox to say, what do I do in this situation, all right, doing nothing a lot of the times can get you killed.
Right.
So just having that preparation ahead of time, knowing what to do in certain situations is a huge advantage to you, So
yeah, it makes me think of, how most people is you try to be nice to people. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. As you're the strangers all the time as you're walking around in the mall or downtown or whatever the case may be. And there's a level of being nice, but then there's also a level of being safe.
Right.
And so, you've gone through, teaching me a lot of things about that. First off is the most simple one is don't walk around with your face in your phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
It says victim written all over it for somebody, a target.
Well, that part of that class is getting into criminal psychology.
Yeah.
And knowing how criminals select their victims. And that's what they look for. They look for people who they can easily surprise, easily overpower. So, they have a checklist. And just knowing that checklist will help you in situations. And you probably heard me say, 100 times in class, presentation is everything. Okay, whether it is whether you're talking to the police, whether you're presenting yourself in public, okay, presentation is everything. If you carry yourself with confidence and you look like you're in charge, you'll probably never become a victim because criminals don't like targets that may become a problem.
Right.
Okay, they like easy targets, people who are not going to fight back.
That's it. People who don't they don't feel threatened by because the truth is if they're a perpetrator, they're really a coward.
Right.
I mean, to prey on somebody weaker than you for personal gain automatically tells you where their mind is. And so that was another really eye-opening thing that you made aware to me is that we don't assume that people think like we do. Right. We might be good-hearted, caring, loving people. Somebody coming at you may not necessarily have that same...
Right, and that's that's another area where this class really these classes really do get you prepared because not everybody thinks like us. Okay, but human nature, we always want everything to be okay. Okay, crime doesn't happen to me. Okay, it's going to happen to somebody else. Crime is something that you hear about on the radio and TV and okay, but they never really think about what if it happens to me. Okay, and it can happen to you. It can happen to anyone, anywhere, anytime. Okay, and if you accept that reality, then you start to look at the world a little differently, and you start to start thinking about your personal security and start thinking that maybe I should be aware of what's going on around me because it's going to help. It's going to be advantageous to me.
Yeah,
So,
I think about how authorities or law enforcement may engage somebody who is, maybe waving a gun around, they're in somebody's house or in a situation.
Yeah.
They many times are nice to them to try to talk them down or whatever. But, it takes great skill and training for what they do to identify whether somebody's dealing with a mental illness, if somebody's just if somebody's just pure evil. We may not always have that benefit.
Right.
Unless we train ourselves. I think training itself can prepare us better.
Yeah. Well, the rules of engagement between a civilian and a police officer is very different. Okay, and the biggest different aspect of that is that a police officer can escalate the force if they need to,
right,
to control the situation. Okay, and a civilian cannot do that. Okay,
by law,
right. Civilians can only use the equal amount of force that is being used against them, whether it's verbal, whether it's presence, whatever. Okay? So, and that's where people, really get tripped up. I have a gun, I can protect myself, okay, just because some guy's yelling at me.
Bad idea.
It just doesn't work that way.
No, you see, I think, and this is something that I appreciate about you and your training. It's defensive focused, where it's not about now I have something. I'm this really bad dude. You don't lose what you're always teaching us is we're not trying to lose our sense of decency and humanity in the process of dealing with a situation. Because you were telling me before we came back on, but there's definitely some considerations to take into consideration when using lethal force in anything, whether it's a bat or a frying pan or whatever you got handy if somebody's coming at you, and you you can go into those if
you know,
want.
there's a lot of different aspects that people don't even think about. Okay,
Yeah.
when they strap on a gun and they start carrying for personal protection.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, our classes are designed to basically keep you physically safe, mentally safe, morally safe, financially safe, and legally safe. Okay, so you've got 5 different aspects there that you have to consider. Okay,
Right.
you know, if you do shoot somebody in your house and it happens to be a 17-year-old kid that was trying to steal your TV, and he's, he's one of your neighbor's kids, okay, do you really want to shoot a 17-year-old kid that's in your house that was just trying to steal your TV?
Of course
So
not.
you've got social aspects, you've got moral aspects, okay? How are your neighbors going to look at you after that happens, okay?
Yeah, it's important
And
to...
it's a huge thing.
Yeah, consider
Okay.
the consequences
Right.
of what you're doing. I mean, just because somebody else is doing something wrong doesn't mean we do something wrong.
Right.
We still have to, I believe the underlying moral, what your motive is, because he made me mad is not a good motive. It's not. It's not a good motive.
So, one wrong move with your firearm is, it's one mistake and that your life is over.
That's right.
Okay, you can end up in prison. Okay, so again, we're trying to keep you out of jail. We're trying to keep you safe. We're trying to keep you socially safe, mentally safe. There's a lot of different aspects to this that most people
Right.
don't even think about, and this is the kind of stuff that we handle in class. Okay, and it really gets people thinking about, what am I doing here?
Right. Well, the physically safe, I'm just going to go through these a little bit so we can kind of knock them out. But the physically safe seems more obvious. Obviously you don't want to be hurt. But like the teenager next door stealing your VCR or DVD player is not hurting you.
Right.
So, when you take all these into consideration, you should be thinking about that in your decision. Is this even part of that?
Right.
Right. So physically, when you think physically, it's just your body or whatever the case may be, or your property, right? But again, there's that disparity of force when it comes to property. Property's not human life.
Right. You can't use a firearm to protect your property.
Right.
Okay, by law. All right. And again, that's another thing that we teach, that your firearm, whether it's a firearm that you keep on your person or in your home for home defense, is a tool of last resort. Okay.
Yep.
The only time you can go to that tool is if you think you are going to die within the next few minutes.
And you don't have a way out. It always trying to remove yourself from the situation long before you get in it.
That's always the first option, is try to get out of the situation. Because even if you are legally able to shoot someone, who's trying to kill you,
You have to live with that.
you have to live with that. And you will see that person, you will see that life every single day of your life, There will not be a day that goes by that you don't think about it. Anybody with a moral conscience is going to be like that. Some people don't have that moral
Well, a lot of
conscience,
perpetrators don't
okay?
have it.
Well, no, okay,
Yeah.
but again, it's a big deal,
Right.
okay, and I just can't.
Well,
you know.
just ask, a seasoned police officer who's seen so many things, or even someone in the military who suffer post-traumatic stress or different things like that. They can
Same
tell
thing.
you all the things.
Yeah.
I mean, it follows you around.
Yeah, and that's another reason why the military has such a hard time, because, they're at war, but on a personal level, these people that they shoot in war haven't done anything to them, okay?
Yeah.
And here they are taking lives that they never even met, and it's a big deal to take somebody's life, okay?
It sure is.
And, if you have any moral fiber to you, it is a real big deal. And so there's a lot of psychological aspects that go with that, okay?
Yeah, so the financial part is where, are you prepared to lose everything you own? Or, it could cost a lot of money to hire a lawyer and defend you.
If you have to defend yourself in court against a gun charge, a murder charge, you could run $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 on lawyers, expert witnesses, all that good stuff. It's very costly. Yeah,
Yeah, and it doesn't matter if you have insurance when you were in the wrong.
that's true.
It just doesn't matter.
And they do sell self-defense insurance,
Yeah.
where it will cover you up to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
I carry it, okay, but not everybody does.
Right. Well, you have a good reason. You're a trainer, and
Mm-hmm.
you have a lot of reasons too. And you touched a little bit on the moral aspects, but we actually have to take a short break, so we can come back and touch on that a little, and then we get some stories of what not to do. Hi, I'm Lori Lynn Green, advancement strategist and owner of AlphaAdvancementStrategies.com. I've been very successful at helping people overcome stressful situations to get immediate results in their personal and professional lives. At Alpha Advancement Strategies, we provide a non-judgmental and supportive environment, empowering clients to focus more on reaching their goals. You can find us on the web at alphaadvancementstrategies.com or call us at 603-860-9260. Alpha Advancement Strategies is where you invest in yourself.
Little Leapers and Knowledge Keepers Childcare and Preschool offers learning experiences that give kids a healthy sense of self and meaningful connections to the world around them. We teach children from a positive perspective so they learn healthy conflict resolution and develop character. Owner Jennifer Lever has over 28 years' experience in child development. She's helped children learn to read as young as 18 months. Join our happy place where we make happy happen, located in Pinardville, bordering Bedford and Manchester. Call today at 603-491-1780.
Hi, I'm Lydia O'Leary, anchor of Samaritan Truth. Join me every Thursday at 9 a.m. where we'll discuss practical ways to love God and love your neighbor. Because miracles happen every day and you could be one of them. Only on In It Together with Lori Lynn Green.
Hi, I'm Ron Moore, anchor of the Storm Chaser segment, where we'll talk about severe weather in history, science, and today. Join me Fridays at 9 a.m. where you'll learn to be ready for any storm that comes your way. Only on In It Together with Lori Lynn Green.
Welcome back to In It Together. We are in the middle of our personal safety segments today with Master Trainer Bob Bollard from Defensive Strategies. Personal protection, refuse to be a victim. We could go on and on and on, but we won't. So we're talking today about women in self-defense, but we're just giving a little bit of background of, why not to engage, if at all possible, and get away.
Yeah.
We talked about the physical aspects or considerations or consequences and the financial consequences, and just go a little bit into the moral consequences. I think you did a little bit already, but maybe you could talk a little bit on that.
Well, again, you've got the court of the public, and
the court of God as well.
court of God, and the social aspects of it. It's a big thing. How are people going to look at you after you take somebody's life, and what the situation is behind that? Okay, and obviously, if it's a really bad guy, he's been in prison for 40 years, he just got out, and all of a sudden he was trying to kill you, you're probably going to be fine as far as the social and moral aspects, okay? But if it is that 17-year-old kid that's just trying to steal your DVR or something like that,
Took the tires off your car.
Then there's a huge, there's a huge thing that goes with that. Yeah.
Well, because motive matters. In your own heart, am I doing this because I have an anger issue, because he ticked me off, or because it's costing me money, or
Right.
you could go all down those roads.
And the psychological aspects of it, because you're going to go through different stages, and basically that is PTSD.
Right.
Okay, where at first you're going to have elation that I'm alive, I made it through, I won. And then you're going to start, doing with the self-doubt and going through.
Could I have done it differently?
Exactly. You're going to go through all these different stages, and hopefully you get to the point where you come to the last stage, which is acceptance, okay, which is I did what I had to do to stay alive.
Well, that's what
Okay.
we hope. Really, you just
Right.
actually painted the best picture of the goal here is to make sure that you can have no regrets
Right.
afterwards, that you can
Exactly.
say with confidence that you made the right decision. And so absolutely you have to consider
And, you know, like I said, it's a big deal. Some people don't get to that last aspect, okay? They never get to the acceptance aspect because a lot of times they'll take their own life before they do, okay?
yeah.
So, again, it's, you know, number one, if you can get out of the situation without firing a shot, without having, do it, okay?
Well, even you
All ego aside.
Yeah,
You know?
even you. I mean, obviously, you're a trainer, and you have other responsibilities. You know, as far as protecting people and things like that. So you do
Right.
carry, and but you don't take that lightly.
No.
You take that very responsibly, and that's why you train people, because there's so much misunderstanding
Oh, yeah.
of what it is to own something. There's this false sense of security that now I'm king of the world because I have I have pepper spray. Look out, you know, or whatever.
Even a simple tool like pepper spray, if you use it incorrectly, you'll be wearing orange.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too. What about the wind? I mean,
Yeah.
literally every tool of the trade that you talk about, and there's many of them. You can have a baton or
Yep.
tactical flashlight or a knife or whatever the case may be that you have. Just having it doesn't make you good at it.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
it's the training aspect of how to safely have it.
How to use it and when to use it.
Yeah,
the-
absolutely. Only if there's absolutely no other option.
Yeah.
And so, even for you carry some of these other things along with your firearm, and you always say the firearm is the tool of last resort. You can possibly use something else before if necessary, because you don't want to take someone's life if at all possible.
Well, it's a lot easier just to spray somebody than to shoot them.
Yeah, it's true.
So,
well, I have hairspray,
again,
and it's dangerous.
You know, yeah, especially you put a lighter up against it.
Oh, I don't have a lighter though. Darn, I'm so unprepared.
But, you know, it's different tools for different levels of force also, okay, because there are different levels of force, you know, starting with presence, okay, just being there is a level of force, okay, then, you know, you've got your verbal commands, and then you've got physical, and then you've got your electronic and, you know, non-lethal weapons, okay? So you've got different levels of force, okay? And again, remember I was saying that you can only use the same
Right.
equal amount of force that is being used against you.
They call that disparity of force.
No, they call that the force on force continuum.
Oh, okay.
And,
so it's not like Star Wars, use the force.
Something like that, yeah. No, she went from Buzz Lightyear to
Yeah, I have my Disney movies down.
yeah.
Oh,
No,
that's
disparity of force is when there is basically a disparity. You know, two guys against one guy. Okay, a man versus a woman. Okay,
Yeah.
someone who is not disabled versus someone who is disabled. Those are disparities of force. according
And
to
the one
law.
who has the less disparity is usually the one that has the favor of the court or whatever
Right.
the case may be.
Right.
Okay, so not to turn, I don't want to go on that rabbit trail, but you were talking about levels of force. And so I don't know if you want to continue with that because I interrupted.
Yeah, well, the levels of force are, you know, is basically, like I was saying, is presence, verbal, okay, then physical, and then electronic and pepper spray, you know, that kind of stuff, different weapons, and then lethal, okay? And again, a civilian can only use the same level of force that is being used against them, okay? So if someone is in your face and they're yelling at you, you can't take your pepper spray out and spray them. Okay, because now you've escalated the force.
Right.
Okay, the law frowns upon that. Okay, because you made the situation worse. Okay, and that's exactly how they look at it.
Yeah, you don't want to be aggravating or
Right.
you know.
Right, where law enforcement and military can escalate the force if they need to control the situation. Okay, so
Because
you
they
know,
have the authority to do so.
right. So you have to understand the different levels of force, and when a civilian and when military or police can use it, okay? And you hear this one all the time, you know, well, I don't know why they shot him. He only had a knife, okay? Well, a knife is a lethal tool, okay? So if
With
someone...
an intent.
Right. Well, again, that's another thing that you have to prove in court. There are basically 5 things that you have to prove in court, okay? And one is that you were the innocent victim of the attack. 2, that your attacker had the opportunity. He had the ability to kill you, okay? He had the intent to kill you, okay?
Right.
And remember that intent is a mental process. It's the hottest thing to prove in court. How do
Yeah.
you know he intended to kill you? Well, you know,
that's actually a big, important question to ask yourself.
Yes.
How can I prove this?
Exactly. And then preclusion, okay? Preclusion is basically, all right, I thought about all my other options, and I determined that my firearm was the only, option that I had at the time, okay? So, again, that preclusion is a big one, because if you had the option to retreat and you had the option to retreat safely, you should have done that.
Right.
Okay. So it's, not only the smart thing to do, because there's a heck of a lot less paperwork when you don't shoot someone.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you're better off not going down that slippery slope if you don't need to.
Again, a big thing, like I said before, is putting the egos aside.
That's actually really big.
And a lot of males have problems with this.
Yeah, you looked at me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, get over it.
That's a big one to overcome. It really is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
No, he's not going to get the best of me.
It really comes down to learning how to manage your emotions.
Yes.
In your mental state.
Right.
It's called maturity.
And maybe growing up a little bit. Exactly.
It's called maturity. So let's go into a little bit of, some of the recent stories here. On December 14th, there was, what is this, Bankhole? What's that? It says Bankhole. Women flip the script on guns, it says here. Contrary to the recent report that gun purchases are increasing in the wake of Donald Trump's election, for Southeast Michigan, that is not the case with some women. A majority of them from Detroit who are taking firearm classes these days. And their embrace of guns is not for hunting either. Instead, they need for self-defense as a main driver behind the women who have been showing up at different locations for training. I'm not going to name the training place here, but so you offer women's classes specifically that caters to women because women are different than men.
Thank God.
And here's what I found as I took the classes. Excellent instructors. Your partner in crime, Bob. I call you the Bobs. Bob Cormier. He's a fabulous instructor. He's very good with the women as far as he's extremely patient.
Right.
He's not overbearing or anything like that. He takes the time and you do too. You guys take the time to answer
very
questions.
Humble.
Oh yeah, he is. You take the time to answer questions and make sure that people are getting it and they feel comfortable with what they're doing. And I appreciate that. So it's not about telling the women to act like men and suck it up and try to be tough and then they leave crying. That's not what you're trying to do.
No, we have a pretty good crew. We've got 10 instructors, and we're very, very selective about the people we invite. Okay, to train with us.
Of course, they can't be anger management people with anger management.
Okay, I mean we've got patriots, we've got veterans that have been shot 13 times in battle. We've got ex law enforcement. We've got current law enforcement. We've got a really good group of trainers, and they're all highly skilled, and they're all very, very good teaching. Okay, and that's the thing. I mean, there's a lot of highly skilled people who can shoot out there, but they're not skilled in the art of teaching people.
Well, they're skilled and they have a passion to share it because they understand the repercussions and consequences that you can face if you don't understand some basic things. And they want to make sure that you stay safe. It's for you, Bob, when you say that, even having defensive strategies and everything you're doing and expanding and whatnot, the whole goal really here is just to try to keep people safe.
Right.
It's not about getting as many people armed as possible so that you can overthrow the government, or I think there's a lot of misunderstandings. A lot of people think that's what it's about.
No, I agree. There's some people that should not have guns.
Well, and this is the thing. This is the thing with with our supposed rights is the inalienable rights, especially is nobody can dictate to you that, but you're all responsible for ourselves and our own decisions.
Right.
So, just moving along on this story, there was a 63-year-old woman who took a class. We're seeing more and more seniors taking classes as well.
Oh, yeah.
I remember, was it last year you gave a Refuse to be a Victim class to, over 200 seniors? Or?
Yeah. Yeah, no, there's a lot of seniors because they're just as scared as everybody else, okay? I mean, we're living in times that we've never had... we've never experienced before with all the terrorism and everything else. And they're scared. And
because they don't have the physical strength to deal with that stuff. So, even more so.
And that's why they turn into firearms, because firearms is the probably the best force equalizer there is. Okay. It doesn't matter who's on the other end of that trigger. Okay. It's, it's just as lethal, whether it's a, 80-year-old woman pulling it or a,
and they're not gonna like my daughter's boyfriend. He's an MMA fighter and stuff, and we had the conversation last night about personal protection and stuff. And he believes everybody should have some type of self-defense. He thinks martial arts is good, and I think it is good for people who are fit and well and able to do that. But then there are people like me who has a pacemaker and occasionally has issues, and I'm not going to get into a wrestling match with somebody. Right. I'm just not going to. That disparity is easy for me too. Yep. And I'm a woman and I'm small. And
well, again, knowing your physical limits is important. Okay, but we try to teach people, to build a toolbox. Okay. And that you're going to use, that you're going to carry with you, or keep with you. Okay. Now that toolbox is not only physical tools, okay, like pepper spray or a baton or a firearm. Okay, it's also mentally.
Yes.
Okay, tools that you have mentally. Okay, one tool that everybody carries with them. Okay, that people are it's been frowned upon to use is violence. Okay. Criminals are going to use violence against you, okay? Violence is a tool that everybody carries with them, okay? If you know how to use that tool to protect yourself, it would become very handy, okay? But many people don't know how, okay? So building those,
physical and mental toolboxes
for you is very important.
Okay? Yeah, and we do that through training.
Right.
And that's kind of what you're talking about, so that people aren't helpless as they're going out and whatever, and they have to live. You don't want to be afraid and have to stay home and never go anywhere because of that.
Right. Living in fear is
Right.
And again, the old saying is that, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. Okay. And that's true. It really is. Okay. Because if you're not mentally prepared for any situation that can happen to you, okay, people get thrown into violent situations where they just don't know how to respond. Okay, and that's fair. Okay, they've never thought about ever being in a situation like this, and what they do because of fear is they freeze. Okay,
right.
And a lot of times it's the worst thing that you can do. So just preparing yourself mentally for situations that may happen is a huge advantage to you right from the start.
Right.
Okay, just understanding that things can happen. Okay, and knowing how to react when.
Well, I do think that a lot of people, I would imagine, are shocked by the statistics where you said 1 in 4 women would be targeted at some point in their life. And I've already had 2 incidences myself, maybe more. I just don't remember them all. But of course, I'm safe and whatever. I knew how to respond, not because I didn't have training at this, but when that guy tried to get in my car. Back then, we still had those, you hit the lock and all the doors locked. So I immediately did that. Now we have automatic locking doors.
That's violent crime. 3 out of 4 women will actually be a victim of some type of crime. Okay, and that's 75%. That's
so
that's
it's
huge,
not just violent
okay?
crime.
Right.
Yeah.
And, a lot of that ends up to be, domestic violence, okay? Which is another reason why women are getting into,
Right.
Self-protection because, that kind of violence is, very common. And they're just not
now,
taking
domestic
it anymore.
Domestic isn't always just a husband. It could be an ex-boyfriend or,
Yes, right.
something like that. So a lot of times, we're seeing, I know I've seen it over the last couple of years, more and more women getting, where before they would be unheard of. As a matter of fact, I was not interested in it. My husband was the one who told me he wanted me to. He actually, for Christmas a couple of years ago, bought me my first firearm, and I looked at him and went, "What's this for?" And, he knows that I'm out and about a lot. I'm out at night. Sometimes I'm in the middle of the city, whatever the place may be. He knows I'm out, and he wants me to be safe. Little did he know that I would go on to train and become an instructor and take all kinds of classes. And I even brought him
Surprise.
I even brought him to a couple classes.
Yep.
He took the basic pistol with me, and then he took the concealed carry and home defense with me. And
That actually happens a lot, and and that's a good, it's a good sign. I mean, your husband loves you and he wants you to be safe.
right.
So, it's a great gift to give someone is the gift of personal protection. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, in all the things that we learned together about it, how to store, simple things like how to store your firearms, and those are other things we can probably get into another time, and we
there
have
are.
talked about.
There's so many
Right.
little details that you have to know. From laws to all kinds of different things. It's just
Yeah, and we got to take a short break, and we'll be back because I just realized the time. But we'll be back. Don't stay tuned because we're going to talk a little bit more what not to do. Hi, I'm Lori Lynn Green, advancement strategist and owner of AlphaAdvancementStrategies.com. I've been very successful at helping people overcome stressful situations to get immediate results in their personal and professional lives. At Alpha Advancement Strategies, we provide a non-judgmental and supportive environment, empowering clients to focus more on reaching their goals. You can find us on the web at alphaadvancementstrategies.com or call us at 603-860-9260. Alpha Advancement Strategies is where you invest in yourself.
Are you looking to get fit and you've tried going to the gym or started an exercise plan but somehow can't get the results you want? PGEM Fitness offers personal training for individuals and small groups. I start you off right so you're mentally and emotionally prepared to get physically fit. At PGEM Fitness, I'll help you develop a plan that works with your budget and schedule. I'll even come to you. Find me on the web at pgemfitness.com or call me at 603-660-3004. PGEM Fitness, your personal trainer to get personally fit.
Hey, I'm Josh Moore, State Representative and anchor of the Justice for All segment. Join me Wednesdays at 9 a.m., where we'll take a look at the history of America's founding fathers in light of today's important issues, only on In It Together with Lori Lynn Green.
Hi, I'm Ron Moore, anchor of the Storm Chaser segment, where we'll talk about severe weather in history, science, and today. Join me Fridays at 9 a.m., where you'll learn to be ready for any storm that comes your way. Only on In It Together with Lori Lynn Green.
Welcome back to In It Together in the final segment of Personal Safety with Master Trainer Bob Bullard of Defensive Strategies. It's been a great conversation so far.
and beyond.
And beyond. Charge. So, over the break, I was just kind of sharing what I wanted to bring up is, sometimes we think that being attacked or something like that is a random act, when really, in actuality, somebody's actually... They have goals too, Their
That's
goal
right.
is they need to get their drugs for the day, or their goal is they
That's right.
need some cigarettes or whatever, and they need to get some money. So who's the easiest person to get it from?
Exactly.
And so
Could have been a contender.
Yeah, you could have been. So you began to tell me about the anatomy of a crime.
Yep.
In brief.
Crimes aren't really, there's always a process, okay? In every crime, there's a process, and the process is always usually the same, okay? There are certain steps that a criminal takes, okay? And if, again, being aware, all right, there's always a portion where there's a stalking aspect to it, okay? Somebody is checking you out. He's trying to make a decision whether he's going to rob you, kill you, rape you, whatever it is, okay? You don't know what his intentions are at this point, but at the stalking point, you know that he's checking you out. He's looking at you for a certain reason.
That's when we want to recognize it.
Exactly, okay? You can stop the crime anytime during, the pre-crime, okay? So there's the stalking aspect where he's checking you out. Then there's the decision, okay, where he's going to make a decision whether he's going to do this or not, okay?
Right.
Then there's the preparation, okay? There's a preparation where he's going to set himself up in the right location or whatever it is, okay? If you can stop the process anywhere during that whole process before the crime is committed, you've diverted that crime.
You can prevent it.
So, again, knowing what's going on around you, knowing that somebody's checking you out, okay? They're stalking you. And I'm not talking stalking you for weeks or anything like that, okay? I'm talking for the last 5 minutes. Okay?
Yeah, this guy's following me.
Right, exactly, okay? So, again, knowing what's going on around you and paying attention to people, making eye contact and just understanding that there is a process that happens before a crime happens.
Yeah, for instance, if you show up at the mall and you're shopping for the day, look up, see who's around you.
Yep.
Go to another store, see who's around you. You may find somebody's in the same store as you every time.
A lot of this stuff people never ever think about. Okay, but it's actually pretty simple when you start getting into the logistics of it and all that. Just understanding how people work. Okay?
Right.
And being a people watcher, and
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking in my mind about some of the videos that we've watched.
Yeah.
There was one where there are people who will drive up to a car when they know a woman was by herself. They will drive up to a car right next to it and just sit there waiting for them to come back out of a store or whatever they are.
Oh, yeah.
And in this video, a woman comes out of the store and she's just got her face in her phone.
Yeah.
In the meantime, he's in the back of his car. He's got his trunk open. He's waiting for her as she's going over to unlock her door, and now he's behind her.
Yeah,
and she has no clue.
It happens all the time.
And he can grab her.
Yeah. Vans, parked next to your vehicle. Right? You go to the driver's side to get into your car, and you're sucked right into the van and never seen again.
Yeah.
Again, just knowing these situations and how things happen is a huge, huge thing to keep your personal safety.
Totally. And so right now I actually want to share, there's one story that you sent to me about a woman who breaks every rule, every common sense self-defense rule, and then ends up going to jail, and she should.
Yep.
And
if she would have just taken a class.
Well, and that's it. There's, again, what we're dealing with here is a false sense of security, a superiority of thinking that human life doesn't matter. I can do whatever I want because they made me mad, or they came in my house, or they were next door in my neighbor's house,
right.
Whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So I'll just kind of read this a little bit here. This was December 13th. It's actually called "A Woman Breaks Every Common Sense Self-Defense Rule and Goes to Jail." It says, Amy Brewer of Kill Devil Hills. It's funny that where she comes from. Kill Devil Hills.
Kill Devil.
That's just, I've never heard of such a place. In North Carolina, heard suspicious noises under her Outer Banks beach house yesterday, and then proceeded to do just about everything you could do wrong. A person was shot and killed in Kill Devil Hills on Monday, according to police. The incident happened at about 4 o'clock. Several small residents of the court of that area. Boy, this writing is terrible. Let me just get to the bottom of this. She heard suspicious noises coming from under her house. She proceeded to arm herself with a .38 revolver, went outside to investigate. Okay, before I go further, what's the first mistake here, Bob?
What?
Okay, well, I'll guess. First off, she hears noises, and she's in a safe place right now in her house.
Mm-hmm.
She decides to arm herself and leave her safe place
Right.
to go outside.
At that point, she should have just called the police.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Right.
To investigate. She then sees two males fleeing into the neighbor's yard. So she proceeds to make her next mistake and starts to shoot at them twice, striking one of them in their leg.
Mm-hmm.
Then, in her brilliancy, gets on her high horse, calls 911, was very cooperative with the investigation. But instead of calling the police, who, number one, are used to dealing with prowlers and burglars in that community because it's a 55 and older community, instead of letting them deal with it, she grabs her pistol, a revolver, and proceeds to, do what we said.
Yeah.
And
when she shot him, they weren't even in her yard anymore. They were in her neighbor's yard.
Well, even more so, she begins to shoot, and they're running away from her.
Right. Yeah. You can't shoot somebody running away from you.
No, you can't.
Yep.
So, first off, we talk about at the beginning of every class when we're training, there are responsibilities. I love how it's written in the
Right.
booklet that we have. I don't know if you can quote it verbatim or not, but it basically says, you have a responsibility not only to legally, lawfully have it, but to keep it safe and know the law.
Right.
So that's our responsibility.
Yes.
Ignorance of the law is never an excuse.
Owning the gun, there does come some responsibility. It is a tool just like any other tool, but along with that tool comes some, responsibility and, something that's not so common called common sense.
Anyway, so she ends up with 15 to 31 months in prison, and
She won't do that again.
My goodness.
Yeah.
And my mind is still processing I can't believe it.
Yeah.
I can't believe she did that.
Oh, what about that other woman that she saw somebody shoplifting at Home Depot, and they were running out of the store, and she ran after him and started shooting.
Oh
him.
my goodness! There's so many levels of why that isn't. We also have to always, the other basic rules of firing is know your target, know what's behind it.
Right.
Just I don't know.
And once again, you cannot use your firearm to protect property. Okay. And the only exception to that is arson, okay, in New Hampshire. Okay?
Arson.
Right, because arson usually ends up in death either
Right.
with, someone in the building or a firefighter that is, So that is the only exception in New Hampshire. And, okay, so you see somebody stealing your car, you can't take your gun out and shoot them. Unless your baby is in the back seat. But your baby shouldn't be in the back seat because you shouldn't leave your baby in the car by himself anyways.
Right. So today I forgot to give the phone number out. So what I'd like people to do, if you have questions or comments for today, you can actually go on the In It Together show page on Facebook and put your comments there and stuff. Bob and I will pay attention and hopefully engage with you there if you have any questions. Also,
good kind of engage.
Yeah, a good kind of rules of engagement. Lawful rules of engagement. But I wanted you to be able to talk about some upcoming classes. I'm going to actually pull that up right now.
Oh, we have...
Got some good stuff.
Yeah, we have defensive shotgun, one instructor coming up, which is also in a student-level class. That is actually a 5-day class that we're doing because that's an SAF TD class, an SAF training division. Mm-hmm. And which basically SAF focuses most always on defense of the use of firearms, whether it's carbines, handguns, or shotguns. Okay. And all right, so we have that class coming up. We've got fast handgun coming up, which is another SAF class. Mm-hmm. Basically, we're pretty much dropping NRA classes completely at this point.
Yeah, because of the safety factor, right? I mean.
No, because NRA basically is bringing their classes online, and we just don't believe that taking someone who has never even held a gun before, sending them to a computer saying, here, go learn about guns, is not the right way to do it.
Yeah, because it's not safe.
And, we just don't, I just don't agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay, some things you should not learn online.
Right.
Brain surgery might be one of them, that kind of guns,
life-threatening things. You also have, on a regular basis, looking at this, you have a free basic pistol shooting and safety class that you give.
First Wednesday of every month.
And that's at?
At 27 Lowell Street, Suite 207. And that goes on from 6:30 to 8:30. And basically that is sponsored by Bass Pro in Hooksett.
Who knows? You may see me there sometime.
All right.
You never know.
And that class is just a basic introduction to safety. You will answer any questions that you have about law or anything.
Do you mind if I read what you have written here? I think it's really good. It says the class is free to the general public. The free basic pistol shooting and safety course is a 2-hour introductory course. It includes classroom time, learning firearm safety, storage, and maintenance. Students will learn the NRA rules or whatever they're still important, for safe gun handling and storage, firearm parts and operation, ammunition and components, how to unload certain action types, shooting fundamentals, primary causes of firearm accidents, and cleaning your firearm. This is a non-shooting course and teaches you the basic knowledge, skills, and explains the attitude necessary for the safe handling and storage of firearms and ammunition.
Yeah.
Very good.
It's a great 2-hour class. It's jam-packed with information. It takes an 8-hour class that we do in fast and compresses it down to 2 hours.
Right. You also have a just because of time here, about a minute. You have a range safety officer class for those who already have. I have that as well as the instructor. That one is January 11th.
Yeah.
And that is also on Lowell Street?
Yeah.
Okay. And then a ladies-only pistol class.
Yeah.
January 14th.
Yeah. And then we got a woman's defensive handgun 1 that's women's only also.
Oh, I didn't see that on here.
It should be on there. We teach right at this point over 65 different classes. Mm-hmm. So when we have to sit down and do a schedule, it's like pulling teeth. I mean, we do have to get our 2017 schedule up.
Yeah,
and
stick to the ones that people want right now.
Exactly. Well, that's what we do, But we have to have a progression. Okay, so basically you take a fast handgun, which is the introduction. Okay, and then you're probably going to want a defensive handgun 1, then defensive handgun 2. So we have to schedule them in sequence so that people can get into these classes and take them in sequence. So there is some mythology, behind the scheduling.
It is it's a big job though. There's no question about it.
Yeah, there is.
All right, Bob, do you want to give people information on how to get in touch with you?
Sure. Again, we are Defensive Strategies, and you can find us at defensivestrategies.org.
Right, excellent.
And we are at 27 Lowell Street in Manchester. Look us up. Come have some fun.
All right. We'll be right back. Tell you what's coming up tomorrow. Hi, I'm Lori Lynn Green, Advancement Strategist and owner of AlphaAdvancementStrategies.com. I've been very successful at helping people overcome stressful situations to get immediate results in their personal and professional lives. At Alpha Advancement Strategies, we provide a non-judgmental and supportive environment, empowering clients to focus more on reaching their goals. You can find us on the web at alphaadvancementstrategies.com or call us at 603-860-9260. Alpha Advancement Strategies is where you invest in yourself.
Little Leapers and Knowledge Keepers Childcare and Preschool offers learning experiences that give kids a healthy sense of self and meaningful connections to the world around them. We teach children from a positive perspective so they learn healthy conflict resolution and develop character. Owner Jennifer Lever has over 28 years' experience in child development. She's helped children learn to read as young as 18 months. Join our happy place where we make happy happen. located in Pinardville, bordering Bedford and Manchester. Call today at 603-491-1780.
Hey, I'm Josh Moore, State Representative and anchor of the Justice for All segment. Join me Wednesdays at 9 a.m., where we take a look at the history of America's founding fathers in light of today's important issues. Only on In It Together with Lori Lynn Green.
Well, that concludes today's Personal Safety Show. We're so glad that you were able to join us. Go sign up for a class. Join us tomorrow for Samaritan Truth with Lydia O'Leary and special guests I'm sure she'll be bringing. I don't remember who it is. Always talking about loving God and loving people. Thanks for tuning in. Have a blessed day. Remember, we're in it together.